What's in that freezer?
Oh yes, yes, I heard he's on the news.
He was crossing the road, hit by a car, which drove off. Yeah, thank you very much. But he's given himself up now.
That's right, he's given himself up, yeah.
Yes, hello, it's Stephanie at the Coroner's office. Hello.
Or did I hear on the news?
Why should there be? No. All it is, I've been given your name from Sergeant Forward, is it? Yeah. I understand that you were one of the officers at the scene of this fatal.
The family of Nasima Begum have come to identify her body. Nasima, only 21 years old, has died suddenly less than 2 days after contracting a mystery illness. In the absence of any explanation, the case has been referred to the coroner. A post-mortem will have to be carried out and an inquest held. Delay is inevitable. The coroner's officer is Alf Taylor.
I'm just going to open the door and she's behind a glass screen, just lying there. Do you want to come and sit down for a minute? Come sit down for a minute. Just sit down and compose yourself. That's your sister, isn't it? Okay. Okay. Now you compose yourself for a minute and then we go back down. Your mother okay?
Okay.
Okay, come on.
This is the 21-year-old girl, isn't it?
That's right, yes, sir.
Who's found dead at home, I believe. Actually been seen by the doctor the day before, right?
Yes, yeah. The family had rung the surgery afterwards, but she'd been vomiting and had diarrhea over a period of time. And I think there's some worry about dehydration.
She said like her head, she couldn't sit up or anything like that. So we called the doctor, the emergency doctor. The doctor rang back and said it was early days yet, that they couldn't come out and see her, so she should continue taking paracetamol and drink plenty of fluid.
She's married girl.
Married girl, yes.
Yes,
Lives
yes.
with the family, but she's married.
The coroner wonders if Nasima may have been given insufficient fluid following her vomiting and died from dehydration.
There's no history of any sort of, to give us any idea. She's not been abroad, or and there's no one else in the family got any associated sickness.
My mom noticed her going pale, so like they called for the ambulance. Like when they came, they like tried to resuscitate her. I think they failed, like, so they took her to the hospital. And we think she might have died like when she arrived at the hospital or on the way to the hospital.
Okay, well, I've seen all I want to see, actually. Thanks very much. But there doesn't appear to be obvious signs of dehydration, which is what I was very interested in. Yeah.
But post-mortem's tomorrow morning.
Okay. Thank you very much indeed. Right on. Go on.
Well, I've spoken to the brother. I mean, there is very little. He can tell us it's just this sudden onset in 2 days or so. There's no
previous history of being unwell?
No, she's got no sort of problems whatsoever. She hasn't been taking any medication of any sort, has she? No, the GP has not seen her for some time apart from this.
I wonder whether she might have been taking some, herbal medicine
No,
or something.
nothing.
Yes, or
There is
gone to
nothing.
some traditional. Because some people go to traditional,
Or whatever. There's no form of any illness or whatever, certainly in the past few months or whatever. She's got nothing which they can help us with.
If you could, though, just find out whether there's any possibility of over-the-counter medication,
Yes,
or
okay.
let's say an orthodox, unofficial
Yes,
sort of
okay.
medicines, like traditions and things like that as well.
Good,
Okay, we'll see what happens.
Thank you.
We will have the result as soon as the examination is being done this morning, and the officer will ring you and tell you what the pathologist found.
Nasima's family is anxious for news, so that the body can be released as soon as possible.
He will ring you probably before that, as soon as he has the cause of death. So don't worry, we will ring you. That's what we normally do, is know what the person died from. We will ring you. All right. Okay. Bye bye.
I'll just show you what's happening and where that's where the time will sit. All the family can sit along there, okay, and the coroner will have you sitting down in that box there just to give those brief details he gave me yesterday about Nasima, and then he'll sign all the papers and he can come out. Okay. There's no
The same day the inquest opens. The expectation is that once the hearing is over, the body will be released for repatriation to Bangladesh.
So it'll all be over in here in a couple of minutes. Okay.
That's fine. Thanks very much.
The blonde girl will come out to see you in a minute.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Taylor,
Sure.
we're opening this Asian lady, who died following
Begum.
sickness.
Yes,
Begum,
yes.
that's right, the sickness and diarrhea one. I've only just realised that the family wants to take the body abroad.
That's right.
Now, we haven't got a cause of death.
Dr. Louis Harry's taken feces, microbiology. She's taken blood and urine, and she's also taken histology. But we don't know where we're going with the cause of death at the moment.
Well, I mean, it's a remote possibility, but we'll have to think of the possibility of poisoning, you see.
Yes, I understand.
And if once the body's gone out of this country, we're never going to have another chance to look at the body again. Now, this is going to be quite a blow for the family, but I think on this occasion I'm going to have to think of taking my coronal powers seriously and actually ordering the bodies retained here.
I'll have a word with you.
I mean, it seems to me, actually, in fact, there are two possibilities. Either they can agree to a burial here in Birmingham, which, of course, we could always have an exhumation if the body is to be looked at again. Or alternatively, we could keep the body here in the deep freeze, and then once we've had the cause of death established and we're quite happy it's nothing suspicious, then they could take the body back to, I think, is it Bangladesh?
It is Bangladesh.
Bangladesh, that's right, isn't it? Yes. So, I think perhaps before I go in and hear the evidence of identification, could you have a word with the family as to prepare them for this?
I'll speak
Yes,
to them.
that's great. It's great nuisances, but it's just possible that tissue may have to be taken from the body again, maybe hair or skin or something like that to be looked at again. Just to be quite sure. Okay, thanks very
Thank
much.
you very much. I'll do that.
The coroner's, he sort of said that the body will be released on the Thursday, but we'd have to go in and, identify the body and it'll be released then. But when we went there on the Thursday morning, out of nowhere, out of blue, they just said, the coroner's not happy, so they won't be releasing the body to, we wanted to send it back to Bangladesh to be buried there. So they said if it was in Birmingham, they'd release it, sort of straight away, but not sending it abroad.
I've had the relatives back, and they're asking whether you would consent, if they had a burial, to sign a burial form, a burial in this country.
Well, that was one of the
Yes, I
options
appreciate
that I
it.
gave it to them, and I think it'd be unreasonable for you not to, do they know that the brain has been removed?
I have told them.
You have told them.
Yes,
Because I think
I
it's
have.
important that they should realise that there are some organs that have been taken, for further
Yes,
analysis.
yes. I've told them that. I've put them in the picture. I've told them the time scale. And I think they've had a family conference.
Well, they're
Quite
a
honestly,
they're a
as a
most
result of that.
reasonable family. And remember, I
Yes, they were.
suggested we talked to them before, and they came to that conclusion, which was to keep the body here. But
Yes.
I'd be quite happy to do that, then, sure.
Okay, then, sir. No, that's
Yes, it'd be very
that'll be
nice.
satisfying.
Because otherwise they want to get on with the funeral.
Yes, otherwise it's going to
Particularly
be
being a
too-
Muslim family, because this has become very pressing for the
Yes.
Muslims.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, we had a lot of pressure from like relatives, the local community. 'Cause they made us feel really awful as well. Because instead of like showing sympathy, they were saying we weren't doing anything to release the body. It's just like our community, they don't understand like what the coroner's power, what powers the coroners have. Like they were suggesting, why don't you go to the MP or get a solicitor so that you can release the body straight away. But what it is that they didn't really think about what the coroners were saying or what they could do. They weren't thinking about that. So yeah, like, you know, we got all sorts of jabbing going on and everything, like saying things about their family as well.
Right, I'll get Al to come and have a word then, because the undertakers believe they're involved, okay? So we'll have to get it sorted out. Take it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Al, you're Nasima Begum. I've got a guy from the mosque outside now, and he reckons he wants the paperwork for the body.
Well, are they the ones who've arranged to collect it?
Well, he seems to be, but Ambulers are under the impression they are, because I thought he was a member of the family first, so Ambulers are going to come anyway.
When are the ambulance coming?
Well, we're going to come today.
Well, the funeral's today.
Right. Well, I don't know. I thought you might know who's handling it.
Well, I think there is somebody from the mosque who's handling it. My understanding was that I spoke to somebody from the mosque yesterday.
Right.
And they were going to handle it. But I didn't know ambulance were involved in it at all, quite honestly.
Well, he reckons they're not, but I've just phoned Ambulers and they said, oh yeah, we're looking after that funeral. So they think they are.
I'll give them a ring now.
I've just spoke to Ambulers and I thought this was a family member out here until I went out and he said, no, I'm from the mosque. All sorts now. Sorry about that, because I was a bit confused. Right, this is the paper that you need. Now, you'll need this to be sent to the mortuary to remove her. All right. Okay, then? The mortuary's just put the driveway at the side. Okay, if you give them that, they'll release her.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
The funeral of 9-year-old Tabassum Shamoon is set to follow afternoon prayers. The body will then be flown to Pakistan. The coffin is placed in a small room opening onto the mosque.
I mean, it has been a difficult case, as you know. I mean, when I first did the PM, I really couldn't give a cause of death at that time, but I did find a swollen brain, and I suspected that the cause of death was going to lie in the brain, but I couldn't slice it in a fresh state, and that has really been the source of the main delay, because the brain is a very soft organ, and if you slice it fresh, it just collapses, so it had to be hardened in formaldehyde for several weeks. But when I did slice the brain, I found a cyst, quite a small, just less than 2 centimeter cyst in the ventricle, in one of the ventricles of the brain, one of the cavities of the brain, and this had impacted and caused obstruction of the flow of cerebrospinal fluid through the brain, and this had led to sort of a raised pressure within the brain and had unfortunately caused her death.
That would account for the sickness?
That would account, yes, because raised pressure can cause vomiting, and it would account for a headache as well.
Right.
Actually, Alfred, you might like to have a look at a slide of the cyst, that pink thing.
That's the size of it?
Well, yes, I mean, in fact, it shrunk down because in the processing of the material it shrinks down, so it was actually larger.
Yeah.
But it was filled with this gelatinous material which stands up pink. So I'm giving the cause of death as raised intracranial pressure secondary to a colloid cyst of the third ventricle.
Right. The relatives will probably ask me, I'm sure they will, whether the doctor would have been able to sort of diagnose that in the time, because this has come on in 24 hours.
This came on
that's
very
it,
rapidly.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. She would have complained of vomiting and headache, and that is not the sort of thing you would think of. It's a very unusual cause of death. I've never given it to death before.
No.
It's well recognised,
Yeah,
but it's rare, and it can cause sudden death, unfortunately.
So it is purely this that's the cause of death. Now, I also asked her, because I think you probably want to know, whether the doctor could have done something. And she said no, it is one of those things which have come on extremely suddenly, very, very rare, and so she wouldn't expect anyone to diagnose that as the cause of the death. I mean, after a while, with tests in hospitals and scans and all sort of bits and pieces, they may have been able to detect it. But of course, it all happened too quickly, didn't it?
Yeah. It makes me feel worse, like, you know, it just happened so suddenly that nothing could have been done, and like it took such a long while to find out. Because I was just wondering that if it could have been like done any quicker, then it'd taken this long, so that she could have been flown back home and buried there.
Flight PK790 to Islamabad. Final call for immediate boarding at gate 206.